Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. Welcome to Beach Walk Blog. This is Beach Walk Blog number 44. I can't believe we've done 44 of these already. It's crazy, and there's still things to talk about. So today I wanted to talk about something very simple, and it's about why are you not getting injury free? Why are you not getting pain free? Why are you not getting fixed? Now, first thing I want to say is nobody is going to fix you. Nobody is going to fix you. You are going to fix yourself. Now, when I was injured and I was suffering with calf tears on probably a monthly basis, I was doing all the strength exercises that I could possibly throw at myself. I was taking advice from physios and different strength coaches and podiatrists, doing all sorts of strength exercises, and I was still getting calf tears. I was still getting I actually had a couple of hamstring tears as well. I was getting really bad hip pain, back pain, shoulder pain, knee pain, shin pain, of course pain where the tears were occurring, but just basically pain everywhere. I was on painkillers all the time. I was taking painkillers every day, taking anti-inflammatories because that's what I was told to do. I wore all the orthotics, I did all the stretches, and yet I still got more and more injured. Now, the reason why I was not getting fixed is because firstly, I was expecting other people to fix me, and secondly, because I didn't know enough. And when somebody else, when you're putting your life and you're putting your needs into somebody else's hands, it doesn't matter how much you pay them. They're not inside your body. They're not with you 24/7. They don't know what you're doing. So if you put your body, your life into somebody else's hands with the expectation that they're going to fix you in 1 hour a week, or 2 30-minute sessions, or 2 1-hour sessions a week, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen because you haven't educated yourself enough to the point where you are taking control of the situation yourself. Now, like I said, when I was injured, when I was truly getting the worst injuries that I can imagine, that I can remember, calf tears, hamstring tears, and all the pain that I was suffering with, all the advice I kept getting was your core strength is not good enough, you're not strong enough, you're not flexible enough. Now, I was a gymnast, I did powerlifting, I was flexible, very flexible. I could do all the flexibility stuff that there was, and yet I was still getting injured worse and worse and worse. I was doing all the strength work. I was powerlifting. I was bodybuilding. I was doing all the strength work. I was still getting injured. Remember, I was a gymnast. I was doing all the core work, and yet I was still getting injured. Now, I keep saying this when I was at my worst, and I kept getting the same advice, which was, you've got to get stronger, you've got to improve your core strength, you've got to get more flexible. I started to ask the questions, how much core strength do I need? How strong do I need to be? And how flexible do I need to be to not get injured? Because there's people out there who are nowhere near as strong as me, who weren't getting injured. There was people out there who were nowhere near as flexible as me, who weren't getting injured. And there was people out there who had nowhere near the core strength that I had. And I put core strength in quotes. They had nowhere near the core strength that I had, and yet they weren't getting injured. So I started to ask the questions, well, how much is enough? How much is the right amount? And I never got an answer, because there is no answer. These things are straw men. They're straw man arguments. They're straw man cases. You need to be stronger. Okay, where? In what movement? In what body part do I need to be stronger? And all I got was these arbitrary answers of do more, do more, do more. Do more of this, do more of that, do more of this. But I was already doing this. I was already doing that. I was already doing this. So my question to you is, why are you still injured when you're doing all the stuff that you're being told to do? And I kind of came up with this analogy, and it might not be the greatest analogy, and that's okay, but it is an analogy. Why didn't you build your own house? Why don't you educate yourself? Why do you go to school? Why do you get a degree? Why do you call a plumber or an electrician or take your car to a mechanic? Why don't you do it all yourself? The answer is because you don't know how. You're not educated in those areas. Now, you may well have a degree, you may well have a doctorate, you may well have a master's degree, but you don't have a master's degree or a doctorate or a PhD in running, or the movement, the biomechanics, the kinesiology of running. And that's one of the reasons why you're not getting fixed. Now, I'm not saying you need to have a PhD or a master's degree or whatever in biomechanics. What I'm saying is, you don't know the reasons why you're not getting fixed. You're doing all the stuff that you're being given and it's not working, or it works for a little bit but then you get injured again. So as soon as you start upping your mileage, you get injured again. This is really common. Oh, I fixed one injury but now I've got another injury. Oh, I fixed one injury but it came back. These are all things that are really common, and I hear it all the time, and it's preventable. It's absolutely preventable. And the first thing that you've got to do is understand that every movement is different. Every single movement that you make is different. And, you know, people kind of get upset with me when I say strength is specific. And they say, whoa, no, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Strength is specific. And I say, well, strength is specific. Go into a gym and you'll find 20 machines to do 20 different movements, and none of those movements will strengthen the other movements. They all strengthen their own movement. So if I do a bicep curl, it strengthens my biceps. That's it. Doesn't strengthen my triceps. I have to go and do another exercise to strengthen my triceps, right? And I have to do this kind of squat to strengthen this, and I have to do this kind of squat to strengthen that, because the other kind of squat didn't focus precisely on what the other type of squat does. So there's like 8 different types of squats. I googled it this morning. I asked Google, show me all the hamstring exercises, strength exercises. It showed me 47 exercises for the hamstrings. 47 exercises. And none of them, not one of them, were with resistance bands or replicated the movement of running in any way. So we got 47 exercises for the hamstrings. Why do we need 47 exercises for the hamstrings if strength is not specific? Surely there would just be one exercise to strengthen the hamstrings, right? It's one muscle, there would be one. No, there's 47 different ones, because there's 47 ways that we can work the hamstrings, but they're all different, apparently, according to Google and according to different coaches and therapists. That, well, no, strength isn't specific, but we need 47 different exercises to work the hamstrings. What a load of crap. It's ridiculous. So where am I going with this? I'm going to bring it back to, why are you still injured? Well, there's 47 exercises out there on Google for the hamstrings, but yet none of them work your hamstrings in the way that running does. Isn't that crazy? Don't you think that's crazy? They're all gym-based exercises using dumbbells and going up and down, or laying face down on a machine, and blah blah blah. And these are all ways to work your hamstrings, but none of them replicate the movement of running, or the demands of running. That's insane to me. That makes no sense. So yesterday I listened to this podcast, and it was all about strength training for running, and it was so weird, because on one side of the podcast, the lady was saying that, you know, we have to do specific exercises for running and they should mimic running. And then on the other side of the coin, she's saying, but keep it really simple and do squats, lunges, farmers carries, deadlifts and planks, and some side planks. And I sat there scratching my head going, well, which one is it? Which one is it? You know, we want to keep it simple, but if we keep it simple and only do those 5 things, then we're not doing anything that's specific for running. So that was kind of, it was a moment of kind of clouded clarity. And I know that's an oxymoron, or it's a double negative, or whatever you want to call it. I can't think of the right word. Oh look, there's some dolphins. Can you see them? See if you can see them. Dolphins. This is why I come down here and do these. There you go. You see it? So yeah, you know, the stuff that's being told to runners is keep it simple because it's simple, yet we have to be specific. But if we're specific, it's too complicated, so we've got to keep it simple. But keeping it simple is not doing what we need it to do. So it isn't simple, but we need to keep it simple. It's mind-blowing how stupid that is. Because, again, on one hand, we've got the advice which is keep it simple, don't make it too complicated. But we've got to be specific. I mean, in being specific, we have to get a little bit complicated. But we can't make it complicated because it's too complicated. And, oh my God, it's mind-blowingly stupid how simple this stuff is. All you have to do is just train relative to the running motion. And that way, we train the body in the way that it acts, it moves, and the forces that are imparted on the body when we run. Super simple. Now, again, I'm going to just take it back a little bit and say, why are you still injured? And I'm going to put something side by side with that and say, why don't you build your own house? Why don't you do your own plumbing? Why don't you do your own electrical? Why don't you do your own taxes? Why did you go to school? Why did you get your education? Again, you got your education in something, but that something wasn't the thing that is going to help you get injury free and pain free and run better and run faster, right? Because it's different. And like I said before, you can be the most educated person in the world in one field, but that doesn't mean that you're educated in everything. It might mean that you've got some common sense and you're smart enough to recognize differences and that you can study hard and these things, but it doesn't mean that you know everything. Okay, you can be a PhD in one field and then know nothing about anything else. It's okay. It's absolutely okay to do that. And that's what the world is full of. It's full of people, billions of people, who are experts in IT, in computing, or experts in law, or politics, or medicine, and they know absolutely nothing about anything else. And that's okay. That's absolutely okay. That's life. That's how it is. We get educated in something, but that something isn't everything. And what that shows is that you have the ability to learn, you have the ability to comprehend, you have the ability to problem solve, but it doesn't mean that you know everything. And one of the reasons why you're not getting injury free is because, like I said before, you're placing your hopes, dreams, and your body into somebody else's hands, and that somebody else either doesn't know the things that are going to get you injury free, or they're basing it on a model that simply is broken and doesn't work. Or they're trying to simplify things to make it so simple, but in being so simple, it actually doesn't work because it misses the target. It misses the point, right? If you're, like I said before, when I listen to that podcast, we need to keep it simple, but in doing so, in keeping it so simple, it misses it misses the target, it misses the reasons, it misses the point that strength is specific to the movement in every way. So the reason why you're not getting fixed, you're not getting injury free, is because you're not educated enough about running, the way we run, the forces that are imparted on the body when it runs, the body itself, the muscles, the fascial system, the tendons, the joints, the actions of those joints, the rehab side of things, how much recovery do I need, self-myofascial release, all of these things. And it doesn't take much to just learn about them. And just to be honest with you, the best way to learn about them is by doing them. Just simply by doing it. That's literally what school is. You go to school to be in the class, to experience the learning process, and you learn, right? That's what it is, and that's what the Runner's Rehab and the Basic 8 course is. It's a process, and people have criticised me so much. Method, sling method. Yeah, method. What do you think happens when you go to the doctor, when you go to an optometrist or an ophthalmologist or a gastro surgeon? What happens when you go to any of these things? You go to a mechanic, they problem solve. They all have a method. They don't necessarily call it a method, but it is, just by default, a method. That's exactly what it is. So in going through the process, you learn about what you're doing. And in learning about what you're doing, you will educate yourself enough to see why what you've been doing, all the stretching, the squats, the planks, are actually making you worse. Okay, I'm going to leave it there because it all falls down to education, and you're not taking the time just to simply educate yourself, and over a period of time you'll get the time to actually educate yourself. 20 minutes a day, that's all it takes. But you've got to stop doing the things that you're doing to give yourself the time to educate yourself on the things that you need to be doing. It's that simple. It's just all about education. Are you willing to educate yourself? That's what it's all about. And there we go. Talk to you soon. Bye.